Welcome everybody to this Trainerize Collective. My name is Nathan Farish, personal trainer and product expert here at ABC Trainerize. Today we've invited three special guests to discuss a timely question as the summer months arise. How can we as fitness professionals make more money during the summer months? And how can we leverage ABC Trainerize to do that? And to share their unique strategies today, we've invited Ashley Conrad, CEO of Clutch Bodyshop, as high-ticket coaching, as well as fitness expert to A-list celebrities, music moguls, and top CEOs. Excited to hear from you. We also have Steve Shaw, transformation and power building coach, ultra runner, ran 52 hours on his 52nd birthday. Don't mess with this guy. And he's built a fantastic community as well with Massive Iron. And finally, we have Sean Greeley, founder of NPE Fitness, a global organization that's helped thousands of fitness businesses scale to 6 and even 7 figures. Excited to gather your insights as well there. My friends, thanks for joining us. So let's look at the 20,000-foot view for today. Summertime obviously means more people are getting outside and more active, especially here in Canada where it's typically very cold. Trying to get outside now. And that can make it a lot trickier to acquire new clients. So with that in mind, we're hoping to gather your unique experiences both as coaches, business owners, and business mentors, respectively. So with that in mind, let's dive into the strategies that have brought you success up until now and some of the things that you've done in the past. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Great.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your business, how online training has contributed to your financial growth relative to in-person? That will be our starting point, a little bit of background and how you leverage online. Ashley, is that something you feel comfortable speaking to first?
Absolutely. Yep. So I founded my first company, Clutch Bodyshop, back in 2008 in Los Angeles. At the time, the reason that I formed it is because everything was so segmented. So you had high profile celebrities and athletes that were having to go to 10 different experts to essentially transform. And so I saw this massive opportunity in the market because I would get on the phone as the trainer who was trying to quarterback the transformation, trying to talk to the chef or the vitamin drip expert, or whoever else they were working with, and nobody wanted to work as a team. So I thought, okay, everybody kind of wanted to be the guy to the high profile person. I thought this isn't going to work. So I put together a superstar roster. And my company, we worked with people like Bradley Cooper, Kate Hudson, Penelope Cruz. I was contracted by both major studios and celebrities individually. And so my background was actually in-person high ticket training and coaching. So we would have clients that would write us big checks for the entirety of their transformation. And then back in, after I worked with bodybuilding.com, I saw this opportunity to bring things online because a lot of my programs with them did very, very well. And I searched and searched and searched for the right platform to use. And that's how I found Trainerize. And so I kind of thought this will just be a side hustle. Like this will just be a nice little part of the business that will bring in some passive income. And now it's the main staple. I mean, this supersedes anything that I do in person. So that's been my journey from in person to online. It's been very interesting and a lot of fun.
Amazing. Either of you guys want to jump in next?
Sure, I'll go ahead. My name is Steve Shaw. I run companies Massive Iron LLC and Super Living LLC. I started a website back around 2007, and just as a hobby, I thought I'd start a forum, internet forum, talk lifting, write about my passion, and it grew like crazy to the point where we were competing with bodybuilding.com as a forum of the year. Completely unexpected. I come to training kind of from as an accidental trainer because I was an editor in the fitness industry with Tiger Fitness and Muscle and Strength for about 10 years. And I decided one day I'm going to try to do a little bit of online coaching to make a little extra money. So I had just spent 13, 14 years putting out free content, 2,500 videos on YouTube, over 1,000 articles. And I thought I would maybe make $500 a month. And that would be, some grocery money. But it actually, I found out because of all the free content I put out over the years that it was a nice, unexpected unexpected growth. So I come to the industry kind of from that angle. I have an incredibly large coaching business right now, far exceeding anything I've ever expected, and I've kind of had to reverse engineer things. Try to figure out business with a successful business, if that makes sense. So it's been a good problem to have, but a lot of interesting learning experiences.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into some of those in a bit. Sean?
Yeah, so my background, I was an athlete, did a lot of sports growing up. I competed in professional wakeboarding for a number of years. And then I finished my sports career. My parents said, hey, I've done some part-time coaching, but maybe you should think about getting a real job. And if you don't know what you want to do, go back to graduate school. And I signed up for an MBA program. And the first day I realized I was in the wrong place, left the room. I was passionate about coaching and sports and fitness. And I left the program. I started my own company. I grew from myself to 2 locations, staff of 10 coaches in Central Florida. We served over 653 clients in 3 years. And then I had a major life scare. I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and didn't know if I'd be dead in a year at age 26. And facing this kind of big existential crisis, I asked myself the question, if I'm only be around a year, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And for me, the big answer that came from that was just help as many people as I could. And I had a lot of friends that were coaches, that were small studio and gym owners, and were struggling with all the challenges that small business presents. I had no vision to build a business. I just started helping my friends solve problems with how to find clients, how to hire staff, what do these financial numbers and reports mean. And that transformed and led to me founding the company today, NPE, in July of 2006. And the last 18 years, we've served over 53,000 coaches and fitness businesses in 96 countries, helping them grow to 6, 7, 8 figures around the world. We've done that in lots of different models, online coaching being one of them that is certainly newer today, and remote coaching has grown a lot in the last few years. But really, anybody who is a coach, whether you're working with clients online, offline, and it's just yourself or scaling to have a bigger business and not just a job, right? Because if you're trading time for money, whether it's online or offline, that still is a job. And building a business is really about building something that becomes an asset that gives you money, time freedom, and something you can sell when you stop working one day, which is, I think, a big part of thinking about not just growing income, but building a business and not just a job is an opportunity that I'm sure we'll explore today.
Yeah, beautifully said. So along those lines, a lot of people watching today are going to be curious how you guys actually go about this. Like, what is your model? What is the pricing? Where does ABC Trainers come into that? Because to your point, online can be an avenue towards freedom, but initially it's a lot of upfront work, right? It's a lot to get this thing off the ground. And as you all know, you've been in this a long time. So what would you guys say are really the take-home pieces from your models individually, and how do you integrate this app into that and make it work? Ashley, let's go back to you. We'll start. I'll mediate. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. So I use the platform in a number of different ways currently. I'll use it for in-person clients. I do a bit of a hybrid. I'll have clients that will fly me out to their location. So I'll do a mixture of hybrid in-person and online coaching and training with them. The app has been, and I'm not just saying this because we're on a Trainerize, webcast. It's been a total game changer, because one of the things that made me really successful in Hollywood at the very start of my career was I was tracking absolutely everything. So I think this is one of the mistakes that a lot of new trainers make, is they don't do nutrition. They don't do supplements. They don't advise on recovery protocols or sleep or things that they're doing outside of that 1 hour session that they're with their coach. And so those were always important things to me. Those were always very important markers, especially since, I was only given a lot of times like 6 to 8 weeks to create what would normally take 6 months. And so I always understood data is very powerful. The numbers don't lie. And so now, whether it's in person or online, I use Trainerize. So first and foremost, that data drives everything that I do with clients. So I'm able to now, my question to myself when I started doing this online back in 2017, 2018 was, how am I going to emulate what I do online with what I do in person as a total perfectionist. And I've never had a client that hasn't lost an extreme amount of weight or that hasn't had an extreme transformation that's actually sustainable after our work together. So that was my major concern. And so the tools that Trainerize has, from the macro tracking to being able to see steps and sleep, how hard clients are rating workouts, the progress photos, I went, okay, well, now I have the data that I need. Now the question is the programming. And so when I went into program, I just started with the exact same programs and protocols that have always worked for me previously. And so my current business model is, so I started doing low ticket coaching. So the price point was anywhere from $47 to $137. And it was just like a total flop. Year one was absolutely awful. And so I took that personally. And so I came back year two and I raised the ticket price a little bit higher. So I came in anywhere between $299 to $500. And what I was doing at that time is I was basically selling challenges and just standard programs, where I had a fat loss program or a muscle building program, which then would auto subscribe the client based on whatever program they signed up for. That still didn't do that well that year. I think we did like 40K in revenue. And I was also very upset. Again, I was like, this isn't working. But in the past couple of years, I changed the model to high ticket. So now what I'm doing is I'm selling a true replica of exactly what I do with people in person, which is fully customized training, fully customized nutrition, blood panel reviews, weekly check-ins, daily review of all their data and feedback. I also opened up group coaching. So I do that once a week as well. So all of what I consider my elite clients, and an elite client is paying $5,299 for 16 weeks. A basic coaching client is paying $2,899 for 16 weeks. And they're getting once monthly coaching with me, plus weekly check-ins through a form and access to all group coaching. So in the way that I'm selling that is, so I'm doing two things. I'm doing organic reach and content on Instagram. I have focused all my efforts solely on Instagram. And I'm running paid ads through Meta on Instagram. And so once I switched over to high ticket, literally within 12 months, I had 4 to 5x my revenue in the previous years. And so I found, okay, this is actually what people need. This is a problem that's worth solving. I think the problem that I was having before was I was selling a commodity. And the commodity is everybody has a training plan. Majority of all of my clients are female. And the problem that almost every single woman that I get on an initial discovery call with is having is, I feel like I'm doing all the right things and the weight isn't coming off, and or nothing I've done has been able to work for me long term. So my value proposition is showing the before and afters of women that have lost 40 pounds in 16 weeks with me, but who after a year and a half, the weight is still off. They're not gaining it back. And that has always been, my passion. I also grew up as an athlete. I played basketball at USC. And so I have always believed in health is a lifelong journey. It's not a 16-week transformation. And when we set people up for these, 3-week challenges, 4-week challenges, that's great as a jump start. But then they just end up falling off of a cliff because we haven't changed their mindsets. We haven't changed their habits. And so those group coaching calls that I do on a weekly basis, no matter what plan or program somebody is in, they have access to that. Because then I began to task myself with, well, if I'm not spending time with you in person, how am I really going to help change your habits and mindsets? And when I started introducing that group coaching, that was a huge game changer. The feedback on that was absolutely tremendous. And it was a massive value add to the clients that are paying me $5,000 to work with me for 16 weeks online. It also created a sense of community with all of these women, where my in-person training is split 50% male, female because of the transformations that I've done. But online, it's been almost 100% women. And I've just found that them also having other women that they get to see on these Zoom calls, they become friends. We have meetups, and now they feel like, oh, and a lot of times as women, our experiences are in groups, there's mean girls. And especially when somebody's feeling insecure about their weight and where they're at physically, now being surrounded by other amazing women that are on a very similar journey or have just come through a transformation and are on the other side, it's been very, very powerful just for engagement and long-term acquisition. So to date, I think I have like a 98% retention rate from people coming out of one of my elite coaching programs and us putting them into some sort of continuation program. And a large part of that I credit to the fact that they don't want to leave all their friends that are in the group. They feel deeply connected. And what we've done has worked, but they now feel like they're a part of something and they don't want to leave that something. So it's bigger than a training plan or a diet. Now they feel like they're a part of a group of support and more of a movement. And so that's been kind of the last 12 to 18 months of where I took the business and what I saw. And it's been tremendous and amazing. Yeah.
I think you've touched on some really key themes there, community being one, and it's beautiful to hear that you can extend that into the online world as well, because I think that is ultimately one of the biggest drivers of change in habits and behavior. And you've also managed to provide a lot of value, right? And to your point, you've changed it from a commodity to something that's a result that lasts for life. It's an investment. So
Yes.
I think some really beautiful points
I
there.
think Ashley touched on some important things, and we have some very similar connection points, when it comes to our businesses. I've built my business on community and being part of something. And for anybody watching, I think it's very important to understand who you are and what you're about. It's not just about a community. It's not just about training. It's about being part of something that's bigger than coaching, and understanding you're not for everybody. I'm nearly 56 years old, and I'm not for everybody. In an industry filled with 22-year-old influencers with abs, I'm an old guy that runs and lifts heavy. The community aspect is super important to me. Trainerize is one leg of that. And Trainerize for me has allowed me to remain agile. I get people that come to me for all different goals. I was an accidental ultra runner. I just thought I was always a hiker, but I always thought ultra running looked fun. So I took it up and became a little bit consumed by it to a point. But I get people that come to me for powerlifting, that come for me for body transformation, that come for me ultra running. And Trainerize allows me to stay agile and fit everything to their goals. So everything's highly personal. I live in the Trainerize chat. And I think last year, Trainerize told me I had 85,000 client messages. I do everything wrong according to, some of the industry standards, but to my people, I do everything right. And it sounds like an incredible amount of messaging, but I'm able to stay in Trainerize chat 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And it just allows me to run fluidly a smooth business that revolves around communication. I also connect with my clients 5 days a week, which is considered insane in this industry. I have a very different business model. But again, it's all part of community. They can connect with me. I'm there with them on a daily basis. It works for me. It's not going to work for everybody. But without Trainerize and the ability to, just the way the messaging system is set up, I can see who's hot, who bumps to the top. I can kind of glance and see if it's super important or if it's semi-important. I can monitor who's a little bit behind on messaging when they last checked in. All those things are super important to me. And in staying in my flows and my rhythms and staying on top of things. So
I don't know how you're doing that.
For only $19,000, I can show you how to run a low ticket business.
My eyes at 10 o'clock at night, sometimes I'm responding to messages and they're just burning out of my head. So when you say 85,000, my hat goes off to you.
Well, one of the secrets I use is voice to text. So
okay. Yeah, that's great.
Well, There's voice messages. Have you taken advantage of that lately?
The voice message is a great addition, but like I'm a stay in the tube type of guy. So if I have to look back at what you did last week and it's in a voice message, it just creates some drag time for me personally. But it's a great tool.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, first off, let me just say we have been working with Trainer Eyes for some time. We have tremendous client base that uses Trainer Eyes as part of their client experience. Phenomenal professional delivery tool, support mechanism to deliver coaching and great client experiences. But I think a lot of people make the mistake, like any product, that, if I buy the tool, I'm going to be successful. It's like, I'm going to sign up for the gym. That means I'm going to get in shape. No, it means you're going to get a gym membership. And if you get a plan and go to the gym every week for months, then you have a chance to get in shape. So we got to reset expectations. And when we talk about businesses that aren't succeeding in terms of generating revenue, hitting the goals that they want to for ownership, it's generally because they have either weak revenue or a very random set of tactics they're deploying with no strategy or plan and very weak assets. And you can't fix that with just more random tactics that are not in a cohesive strategy and plan to deliver the outcome you want for your business. So we like to say the first thing you should do if you want to improve your business is take a step back and create a one-page plan. And we actually have a process we've been refining for years, teaching how to create a one-page plan for your business that just goes through a few simple keys that are important for everybody to think about and understand. And generally speaking, you're going to be able to start to identify where you've missed steps or thoughts that are not in a cohesive plan, which is why your business isn't producing the results that you may want it to, or is stuck or stalled in some way. So the first thing we talk about is, number one, getting very clear on your business and personal vision. And this is something that evolves over time. There might be a season that you love working in the business. There might be a season where you want a little more freedom to be on the business and not so stuck in the business, and producing a different outcome, making the business saleable one day, as opposed to, if you decide to stop working, you stop getting paid, and so on. So getting very clear about your personal business, your personal vision, and then your business vision to support your personal vision for this season of your life, which will evolve through your life, is the most important thing. And then the next step is to get very clear about your goals and targets. And that's going to vary based on your vision. What do you want to do right now in the next 90 days? And where do you want to be in the next year? And then defining the right goals and targets that are going to support that vision. Most people, they don't have a target. They just say, well, I just want to get more clients. I just want to make more money. That's not a target, right? That's not really a clear output. So we want to get clear about what is the goal we want to accomplish. And then the third step is to get very clear on your ideal client. The one thing every business needs is clients, and clients are like fuel in the tank. The better clients you have, the better your business will run. And we like to say, get very clear on who is your best client that you want to sign up, and the better, generally clients that have more income and bigger problems to solve are going to be worth more to the business, and you're going to be worth more to them as a coach. Versus people that don't have a lot of money and don't really care, right? So we want to generally angle towards people that are a little more affluent. I mean, ultimately, fitness coaching is a luxury. We're not selling to people that have to choose between paying their light bill, buying food, and buying fitness coaching. So you're going to be focused on a specific demographic, and the more you get clear on that, then that's going to inform clarity around all your marketing messaging, your lead generation plan, your pricing packaging. Everything is in your business. Every decision that you make in your business is built off of getting very clear of your client. Number 4 will be your revenue streams. You brought up some great things. How do we price and package our services? I would say the biggest point here is don't waste your time with short-term transactional revenue. It is not, the juice is not worth the squeeze. One of the best things about our business is we get to deliver tremendous value to transform someone's life. Well, that's not going to happen in 5 weeks or 5 sessions. And we don't want to run a business that's like a pizza shop where you have to sell 1,000 pizzas every Friday night just to make revenue and have cash come in the door. So we like to recommend, selling longer term engagements, generally 3, 6, 12-month engagements where someone is coming in, has a big goal they want to accomplish. You're going to be supporting them. And then every sale you make is building in reoccurring revenue that's going to stack month over month and building up receivables in the business. Eventually, one day, you're going to wake up with more cash coming in the door. Then you need to pay all your bills and then some. And then you get to really think about, okay, now what do I want to step back and create because I've got the revenue stability and predictability in the business. Other steps to think about, eventually, if you want to grow beyond just yourself, is to think about a team. A team can look like a lot of things. Team can look like coaches, can look like admin support, can look like marketing support, but there's going to be some constraints where you can't do everything all the time in every area. And you're not going to have all the expertise, and it's not going to be worth the value of your time. Your coach, as a coach, there is a value of your time. And if you were investing that time in a lot of $10 an hour tasks or trying to go spend, 6 months to take a course and learn something you don't know how to do, there might be a better way to build the right support systems around you to be effective in creating value in the business. And then last couple things I'll just mention, getting very clear of your client journey. How do we sign someone up? How do we lead them through the journey? How do we support them ongoing? You've heard some great examples of that already from the other guests, so I won't add too much to that, but knowing that defense is what wins the game long term. Be able to deliver great value so people stay, pay, and refer is the name of the game. Anyone will learn how to make a sale at some point, but can you keep people engaged, to Ashley's point, to Steve's point, and support them long term? That's where the long term success of a business is beyond the first year or two. Sales process, lead generation, those are obviously going to be critical factors for acquisition. And that will vary, again, based on the decisions you make upstream, right? Around what are your revenue streams, what is your pricing, packaging, what type of client you're going to go after. All those things will determine the strategies, the assets, the things you're going to need to deploy, and what your teams look like at this stage of growth, of what you can afford to invest to have support around you to grow the business. So those are the things that, whether you're just starting out or you've been around 10 years, you want to take a step back and revisit these kind of 8 fundamentals of your business plan and find where there are gaps, where there's opportunity to think better, think more clearly, and get very clear that vision and that strategy. And then you can get into implementation that's actually going to lead you somewhere that you want to go.
I think what's interesting is that we were coming together today to talk about how things change around seasonality, but it sounds like if you do the right work up front, the seasonality shouldn't matter as much.
The seasonality aspect I was thinking before we got on is a nice bonus once you have a solid business, because in January you're going to get a little extra cake if your business is running smoothly.
I couldn't agree more. Last summer for me were some of my highest paid months, and there's a huge everybody says, oh, summer's so slow for fitness. Well, not necessarily, because people are really confronted in the warmer months by what their body looks like. So if you have a solid offer and you're offering them a solution. So just to speak to that real quick, one of the things that I did last summer is I did a summer challenge, but it was really for acquisition. Right. So it was the first challenge that I did where I went, okay, if I can prove to these people that I can help them during these very difficult months, and they're difficult because everybody's kids come home, there's travel, you're short on time. So my concept was to solve that specific problem. So I created a challenge where the workouts were super short, right? Super short and concise, easy to follow meal plans that you can follow, whether you're restaurant dining or you're at home. And I was able to acquire a ton of clients out of that. But I also had a lot of elite clients sign up during the summer because, they went out for Labor Day weekend and hated the way that they looked in their bathing suit. So I think that if you're doing the right things, you can be immune to some of that seasonality where people say there's these incredible dips, but you do have to plan ahead. And I loved what you said about strategizing. I mean, you have to be thinking 6 months out about what you're planning for the second half of the year to get ahead of things and to be able to execute.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on you,
No,
but
please.
it was one of the things I was, wanted to share was pain points. There's always a different pain point for your base, those people that are following you. There's always different pain points for different seasons. You mentioned, hey, I got into my bathing suit and I looked awful. How, right? There's a different pain point for every season. And for anybody watching, if you're not familiar with a pain point, it's basically what is your base struggling with right now? And there's different struggles for different seasons. You mentioned, putting together challenges, and for those who are watching, they're like, "Great, you guys have successful businesses, but what does this do for me?" You're like, I want to have a successful business. You need some structure. You need to have a plan in place, and there are some simple things you can do that aren't complicated that can help you start to build. You mentioned challenges, Ashley. I have found that when I put together a challenge that really stirs the emotion, like passion, let's do this, like a 30-day challenge, who's in? Boom,
Yeah.
People will jump in. If you just, I put out a lot of content on social media, and you get a lot of people that will get the transient likes, but when you put out something that really stirs their interest, you can, you have a much greater chance of opening conversations. So there's a lot of things you can do, seasonally. One of the things you can do year round, I hope you guys don't mind me just talking about this for a second, is build relationships with everybody that connects with you, DMs, whatever. Take that seriously. That person is a human being. They have needs. Take time to listen. You don't have to, overextend yourself. But community. If you can build a community, every person that comes to you, for me, I ask them, "Hey, would you like to be a part of my community?" Right? If that door opens, there are some things you can do with your communities, like filtering systems. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. A simple example: "Hey, would you like to be a part of my community?" No. Like, how many people say no? But if they say yes, you can set up like a simple 3-question. I just go here, fill out this. What's your email address? Are you interested in learning more about coaching? You automatically have lead generation. So lead generation, for those of you guys watching, is not that complicated if you just have a basic structure in place. I don't overcomplicate things. I focus on community year round. It's community, community, community. Hey, you want to be a part of my community? Just here, fill this out, 3 questions. Do you understand the rules? What's your email? And would you like to learn more about coaching? And endless lead generation.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, I'll just add a couple things for some of the newer people listening to this. If you're a newer coach just getting started out, there's a couple things that I would recommend. And as we discussed already, if you're seeing summer dips, it means you just haven't built a business model that's really solid with recurring revenue and more demand than supply yet, right? So that's going to be a job to be done over time. But where do you get started? There's so many coaches that maybe have been training offline and want to start an online business, or maybe they've been doing personal training and now they want to shift to wellness coaching or other kind of related coaching, health, wellness services, and they want to use Trainerize to do that and deliver that experience, which is awesome. And rather than go very hard into sales and marketing, because I don't think you need to in the very beginning, the most important thing you need is what I would call proof of concept.
Yeah.
I ask people, hey, they're like, I want to, sign up a bunch of new clients. I'm like, great. How many client case studies do you have of people you've supported? And they're like, 0. I'm like, well, how do you think this is going to go? And what are we marketing and selling? You've got nothing to actually demonstrate you can deliver value to the market. You have no proof that you are an expert or a specialist in what you do. So that is the first problem to solve, is really building a base of systems to deliver value and establishing some proof of concept that you can do that in a great experience and people are happy and that they say nice things about you. So we like to recommend, we call it proof of concept campaign. That really is mapping out your initial offer, what you're going to deliver, determining what would be your price point, but then inviting a small number of people, usually 3 to 5 people, to come in for a reduced rate and to go through this experience with you in your proof of your new service offering. And what that does is the value exchange is you want people that are not going to do for free. You really want to have some skin in the game for the client. So they're invested in the journey with you, but they're getting a reduced rate in exchange for committing to the program and being able to share their case study and their results from their journey and their experience. And then go invest the time and work with someone for 3 months, 6 months and really build some great, if you take on 5 clients and you do a really good job and really care, you're going to end up with at least 3 good case studies at the end of that experience. And those 3 case studies of actual value delivered to the market and proof of concept that you know what you're doing now moves you from a generalist to at least somewhat qualified specialist. And now you can charge more for your time. When you put out sales and marketing content, people actually can believe you because of what other people say about you, not what you say about yourself. And a lot of examples, I think, of people that might be listening, that is be the place to begin your journey, is to establish your core offer, establish your client experience, deliver a proof of concept, get some great client case studies, and then the world starts to open up with some more opportunity.
100%.
I think an important aspect of that, as well as being exceptional, taking the opportunity to be exceptional yourself. It can rally people around you. It can, there's a lot of folks that come to me and they ask, how do I get a business like yours? How do I get clients? And I never, sat back and said, I'm going to do something exceptional this week or this year. But being exceptional yourself, finding ways to, you're not out there just trying to win people over, by forcing things. But what am I passionate about? And let's excel at what I'm passionate about, leading from the front, being your own case study. When I got into ultra running, I said, I didn't set out to do something that was going to bring in clients, right? But I wanted to experience this world. We ran, me and my wife, ran 10 hours a week for a whole entire year. And we did so to raise money for a local paralyzed boy. But we immersed ourselves in this world. We did something exceptional, memorable, different. So I think don't undervalue, leading from the front, being the case study. It's motivating to those around you. It can develop a following. It fortifies your business, and it fortifies the results Sean was talking about, the case studies of your clients.
It's beautiful. Well, guys, we're just coming up on time here. And typically I'd ask you guys to share where we can find you, but I think in the interest of time, we will leave all of your contact information in the show notes in case anybody wants to reach out and connect with your communities, ask questions, because clearly this is some very valuable insight. And I can't thank you guys enough for your time and that insight. So guys, thank you so much for watching at home. Thank you, Steve, Ashley, Sean. It was a pleasure having you. And we hope you guys enjoy and stay well.
Thank you guys.